I'm gonna try to, since I don't even know, but I know I was gonna start with this because there's a topic that's it's relevant. So I'm gonna start. I'm in Matthew 18:20, and it says, "For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them." Okay. Now I got to go over to, where's this one? This is verse 9:22, which it's a number for somebody. And then, okay, when it says two or three or more gathered in the midst of them, there I am, right? This is where we're starting at, right? And then I'm at 1 Corinthians 9:22, to the weak became I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. So the things that are going on, it's because there's mercy being activated, but the message has still got to come out. When was the next other one? Because I totally lost it. It means they're trying to take it away from me. So, for example, say, so if there's two or more gathering in his name, there he is, right? Thank you. It came back. Let me see. Really, there's 300 of those? But it has to be when he said it. It's nothing this time. Taking it on. There we go. Okay, this is one close enough. So now I'm in John 10:38. Like I said, these are numbers. And keep everything in sync. If two or more gathered, there I'm in. The next one was pretty much that I'm all things to all men. So now here in John 10:38. But if I do, though ye believe not me, believe the works, that ye may know and believe that the Father is in me and I in him. All right. So when people say they're gathering to slander or talk about, right? And your name is brought up. And if you are in the Father and the Father is in you, which means you're in the brother who, what? The Father has sent unto us. Why? Because John 3:16 says he gave his only begotten son, right? Right? If you catch on to that part. So when they're gossiping about you, in a sense, if you are in God and God is in you, when they're saying your name, they're saying his name. So when they gossip and slander about you, he's already there. This is how people who were in the Father understand when people are talking about them. And we already know, people know this, that gossip and slander is spelling, it's witchcraft, it's negative energy. There he is gathered. What? But as a witness to what's going on. So when these people believe, like, because praying is to speak, right? To preach is to speak, right? So when they're gossiping and they're gossiping about you, and 1 and 9 is 10, the end of cycle is going to be an end of cycle, because when they're saying your name and you're under God's umbrella, when they're saying your name, they're saying his name. This would be like how when I was a kid, I remember, like, if you mess with one cousin, you mess with all the cousins, so to speak, like, type thing, how they portray it to be. Stop messing with my cousin. If you messing with my cousin, you're messing with all my cousins, type thing. So when they're gossiping about you, talking about you, when 2 or 3 or more are gathered in the midst of them, there I am. And if you're in him and he's in you, every time they're gossiping, he's there listening. This is why the protection came out in upside down. But think about it. That's 199. End of cycle still comes to what an end of cycle, because that's still 10 and that's 19, and 1 and 9 is still what 20. That's a crow. So in the protection part, like it says, if like, and I just got to see this, because if he says I'm all things to all people, to the weak, that I might save some, somebody who is sipping about you, slandering you, because he's in the midst of them. When they're speaking on your name, they're speaking on his name, because if you're in him and he's in you, and not another person could tell you these things, because that's between you and him. They're gossiping about who you are in him. So it's like we're not supposed to judge his workmanship, or he made us in that image. And that's if you're under him. If you're not under him, he still has control. But in this sense, when they're gossiping and they're saying your name, they're saying his name, and then they're taking his name in vain. And then it says, what could a man pollute God? No. This is why they have to be in grief, because even though they feel, because even though the slander and the gossip is a form of spelling, talking, uttering, speaking, preaching, praying on your downfall in the form of slander, gossip, and character assassination, so to speak, he's in the midst thereof. And if he's in the midst of in there, so is he, right? Because that's the whole freaking part of it. So when the backlash comes to this, and they act as, well, what happened? They were, because he's in you and you're in him. So when you mess with one, you mess with all, so to speak. So what's 1995? And then I'll end it with that. $1995. 1995 is somebody's birthday, or a year something happened. A powerful spiritual message signifying a successful end. That was the ending at the beginning, the end to a difficult chapter, and the arrival of positive liberating life changes. It encourages you to step into your personal freedom, trust your intuition, and pursue your true life's purpose with confidence. So pretty much in this whole situation is that the only way to stop you was to get you to stop you by not believing in you. Which means that it would be like taking you out of the protection. Because if we're in him and he's in us, and if we come out of it, then there's no protection, which means then that what happened. You won't be able to fulfill your purpose. Why? Because he's not in us and we're not in him, type thing. So whoever this is, whoever this person could be, they could have been born in 95. Or the year itself is significant. What's that? That's 10, that's 19, that's 24, 2 and 4 is 6. See, you detached from this. From people who do this, who you probably was a person who was not even into like wanting to talk slander to people. You're probably a person, like, if you had something to say, you would figure like it'd be better to say it to the person's face than go behind the person's back, type thing. This nine of swords was meant to attack your heart. Your 3 of cups, your heart. Something that has to do with your heart. Like I said, if your heart is your core and people attack your heart, this is where heart attacks come from. Some form of sorrow, depression, outcast, abandonment. It's supposed to trigger something in your heart, lonely, abandonment issues, something to that extent to cause you to have heartache that will have the possibility of causing a heart attack. That you would wind up taking yourself out. And right under the protection, kill, steal, and destroy. See what I mean? But see, in this sense that we were talking about is that if 2 or 3 or more are gathered, but they're talking about you, but if you're in the Father, when they bring up your name, they're bringing up his name automatic. So it's like they're directly spitting at God, talking about God. But again, it says, what man could pollute God's name? There can't be. But he's there in the midst of it, or the scriptures will not be fulfilled. When 2 or 3 or more are gathered in my name, there I am. So when they're gossiping, saying your name, he's there. Why? Because you are under his protection, his umbrella, his kingdom. And if you're messing with anyone that's in the kingdom, you're messing with what? Everybody that's in the kingdom. Yeah, that's the life arc. I already know what that is right out the gate. It's the life arc. And then you can read the description on that, because it still amazes me that this is the only one I've ever found, and I've just added it to my deck. And again, and then the number 3 is up there. So that's 8323. Okay. 8323. A message from your guardian angels to maintain a pure heart. See what I mean? Your heart, just because this is what they were using the 9 of Swords to do, to attack your heart, and to trust your creative talents will bring financial stability. It is a powerful reminder to release unnecessary struggles, embrace positive transitions, and allow divine guidance to lead you towards your highest potential. Because this is your highest potential. You're like a covet, an ark, a vessel, a temple. You are literally used. You can hear the chopper. You are being used to what? Bring this to people. Fresh water for people. Purified water, so to speak. If everybody's been drinking like, oh god dang, what movie was that? If this was like Fallout, and you know that you couldn't drink the water without having rad poison, this water that you're bringing doesn't have rad poison. Or you just go to the scripture with the woman at the well. If you drink from this water, you're going to thirst again. But if you drink from this well, you'll never thirst again, type thing. Because you'll always have it. Why? Because at that moment, you will be in you and you will be in him. So when people are slandering or talking about you, ever bringing up your name, whether they use it with their mouth, use it with their heart, or use it with their mind, he is right there taking notes. This is why it is not good to talk, slander, or gossip, think, or wish anything ill upon anybody in these manners. It's no different than when he said, if a man looks at a woman and lusts over her, he committed adultery. Well, if a person is gossiping at a person, whether it's in their mind, whether it's in their heart, or whether it's with their mouth, it's the same concept. This is why it's not healthy spiritually, physically, mentally, psychologically, good for a person to do these things. And this is something for everybody. This is what all of us as a human race, confirmation, you watch it go away, to not want to do. This is probably why he said, you know how they keep saying that there's 12 commandments, okay? But then when Jesus said, I have another commandment for you, it's no longer 12 now, isn't it? Didn't he just add one on? Yes, he didn't take away. It was an addition to it, right? So right then and again, I think he made another whole new commandment. But Eric, just to freaking end it, let me just put it this way. If it'll let me do it. New commandment. Here it is, John 13:34. This is a number, 1334, right? A new commandment I give unto you, on top of whatever it is that we have, right? Because it's right there. That ye love one another as I loved you, that ye also love one another. However it is how a person individually love, but you got to understand what's the concept of love. And this is the lack of thereof as a human race on the planet itself that we need to learn how to even grasp stronger than the other things that we're trying to grasp for. Because in the reality, once we do such a thing, a lot of more better things are going to happen just because that. Why? Because it's an energy signature, a vibration. It's not a fad. It's not a fashion statement. To love somebody is not a fashion statement. It's not a fad. It's not something that's around for a couple of months and then somebody does something different and then they start following that other trend. So it's not a trend. It cannot be treated as a trend. That's like having you're dehydrated, somebody brings a cup and you dump it out. It's not a trend. It's not something to just be, it's something that you, this is what this concept is for this. And this is why it's not healthy, like he said, if two or more are gathered, but if you're in him and you accept him, he is in you, but he's also in the Father. But if you're in him, that means you're in the Father. So when people bring up your name in a negative way, whether with their mouth, their heart, or their mind, he is automatically there. So it is unwise for anybody. Nobody can get around this. This is like a universal law. No matter what it is, he is there. That's just the end of that part.